come back. Well, they've been here, you see their things. Eating runs usually true to its name. But I am confident they'll be here any minute, so I'll press on. And I'll take this time to welcome each and every one of you to the first ever Saturday night singing at Mount Pleasant Baptist Church. I recall Job 35:10. But none saith, where is God my Maker, who gives song in the night? Amen. Amen. A special welcome to all you folks from the Antioch Free Will and Fire Baptized Holiness. The doors of Mount Pleasant swing on welcome hinges. And I am pleased and surprised to see Miss Maud and Miss Myrtle in the Amen corner. And these dear ladies had some strong objections to guitars and fiddles in the church, but I see you have a change of heart. I've not been this excited since I received the conviction to preach. I think it is a true sign of the modern times when we can gather together on a Saturday night and I can look out over all the men folk and see nothing but shirt sleeves, not a suit coat inside. Well, when I received a call to this church after Preacher Driving passed away, it seemed like a year already. Well, I said to myself, Mervyn, what can you bring to the good folk of Mount Pleasant? And I studied on it, and the answer was progress. Here we are 2 years shy of 1940, and look what God has wrought. Every time I look up and see that electrical light bulb, I thank God. And the generous contributions of Miss Maud and Miss Murphy for progress. Us Baptists are pushing into the modern world. You know, you all look so good out there, I think I'll take the liberty myself. It's hot. Woo. I wouldn't know about the Sanders family myself if McCarter ran, right? True story. I'm on my way home from visiting Mom and Daddy a couple of Saturdays ago, and Mama says, thank you all so much for your prayers on her cyst. She called me up on the telephone last Tuesday night to say it just fell off in her hand. Praise the Lord. So I'm on Highway 11 towards Siler City when all of a sudden steam starts pouring up from under the hood of my car. But as the Lord would have it, Mr. Sanders runs a filling station on that very piece of road. And I'm predicting God was at the wheel when he turned me into that place.
Oh, I am sorry. We are all so sorry. We are all so very sorry. Reverend Oldport, I would personally like to apologize on behalf of my entire family for our lateness, our tardiness. But we've had an accident.
Lord have mercy. Is anybody hurt?
Just ruffled, but we turned the bus over in a ditch.
Goodness gracious.
Out by the pickle plant. Y'all got little cucumbers floating right down the middle of Mount Pleasant. Did you know that?
Well, yes, the factory does let a few of them get away, I guess.
Look like thousands. Thousands of them baby gherkins. Well, that's a big waste of pickle if you ask me. My brother and sister got so excited, they asked Daddy to pull over for a look-see. We all ran over to that side of the bus for the view. I'm guessing the berm was soft because we just kept right on going.
And nobody was hurt?
Only my daddy's pride and my sister's hairdo, which are both sins if you ask me. But I do sincerely apologize.
Well, now where is everybody else?
Oh, back at the bus. A couple stopped to help us. Smitty and Joanne Cates. Do y'all know them? Yeah. They said they were Methodists, so I didn't know. Miss Joanne gave me right over here, and Mr. Smitty stayed to help out the bus back up.
Well, that was real nice of them.
I asked if they want to come hear us sing tonight, but they said it was their card playing night. Oh, I'm real sorry.
Where are my manners? I'd like you all to meet Miss Denise Sanders of the
wish in my heart. Psalms 20:11.
Jeremiah 31:12. They shall be like a well-watered garden, and they shall not sorrow any more at all.
I was overcome with by trouble and sorrow. Psalms 116:3.
Thy sun shall never set again, thy moon will wane no more. The Lord will be thy everlasting light, and thy days of sorrow are ended. Isaiah 60:20.
Oh, Mama.
Thank you so much for having us, Brother Oglethorpe and Mount Pleasant Baptist. This is our first sing in 5 years, and what with that bus turning over with us like that, I guess we're just a little bit addled. I'm telling you that when that bus started tipping over, I thought we'd be swimming for sure. Vera's legs was sticking straight up in the air.
There's a church in the valley by the
hardwood door, the fields running land. No place is so dear to my childhood as the little brown church in the land. Oh, come, 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 come to the church in the wildwood. Oh, come to the church in the land. No place is so dear to my childhood as the little brown church in the land. Yeah! Now,
Everybody's gonna have victory and glory. Everybody's gonna be singing that story. Everybody's gonna have a wonderful time up there.
Well, listen, everybody, because I'm talking to you. The Lord is the only one that's ever used. Better get you ready, because I'm telling you why. Jesus is coming from his throne on high. We are the Sanders family singers from up around Siler City. I'm Burl, standing here slapping the bass as my brother Stanley just come back to us.
Pleased to be here.
And over on the piano is my wife Vera.
Reading in the Bible all the things he said. Said he wasn't coming back to raise the dead. Are you going to be among the chosen few? Will you make it true?
Well, everybody's gonna have victory and glory. Everybody's gonna be singing that story. Everybody's gonna have a wonderful time up there. Oh, glory, hallelujah. Because there's reckoning coming in the morning. And it's ready to give you a warning. Everybody's gonna have a wonderful time up there.
And these here are my youngins. Denise is the youngest. She's a girl.
Thank y'all for having us.
And my oldest girl, Jude. And my only son, Dennis, he's the boy.
thank y'all. Going down the valley, going one by one, gonna be rewarded for the things we've done. When we get to heaven and the promised land, they will understand.
Well, everybody's gonna have victory and glory. Everybody's gonna be singing that story. Everybody's gonna have a wonderful time up there. Oh, glory, hallelujah. Because there's reckoning coming in the morning. And it's ready to give you a warning. Everybody's gonna have a wonderful time up there.
Everybody's gonna have religion and glory. Everybody's gonna be singing that story. Everybody's gonna have a wonderful time up there.
Glory, hallelujah. Because there's reckoning coming in the morning. And it's ready to give you a warning. Everybody's gonna have a wonderful time up there.
Welcome on the Saturday nights.
Sanders family been singing gospel for over 30 years. Why, back before mine and Stanley's mother died,
Oh, not your mom.
bless her heart, she's been gone from us 6 months now, but back then we were a big family group. We sang at the statewide every year from 26 to 30.
And for 1,500 people once at a temperance meeting in Asheville.
Once, Mama got too brittle to ride on the bus. We had to give it up and act like a regular family. But not too long ago, right after Mama died, Vera sat back down at the piano and started singing like I never heard come out of that woman. Why, she'd be banging away every morning, noon, and way into the night. And I finally said to myself, Burl, you better do something about this or we're going to have to sleep in the yard. Well, I thought, the young'uns is raised and Mama's gone home to eternal paradise and Vera's got the itch something powerful. So I took it to the Lord. He filled my heart to the brimming with the thought of spreading the gospel through song and celebration. And I said, yes, Lord. And I took it to the rest of the Sanders, and they said,
Yes, Lord.
yes, Lord. Well, this is our first night back on the gospel circuit in 5 years. And, well, now I know being proud-hearted is a sin, but I feel something tonight. Like my heart's about to bust standing up here again with my family. And after tonight, you can say you saw the Sanders family win. Oh.
Built upon the solid rock, the house will stand. Storms may beat upon it and in rage expand. Not prevailing against the one foundation grand, then built on the rock of ages. Built on the rock, Jesus stands stand. Built on the rock, and not stand the sands and the stormy winds may blow you, but cannot overthrow you. If on the rock you're building, right for sure and steady it stands, and very secure stands through ages long. Wherein no forever, safe are the souls who have built on the rock. They shall not be rich, shall not be ruined.
Praise the Lord. Well, as preacher, choir director, director of finance, director of education, and youth director, I would like to welcome you all to Mount Pleasant Baptist Church. And thank you for sharing your beautiful voices with us here tonight.
Well, whatsoever ye do, do it heartily, as for the Lord, not for man.
Colossians
Colossians
3:23, amen. Thank you, Mrs. Sanders. Nothing gives me greater joy than to know we are all gathered here together for one purpose, getting right with Jesus in song and revelation. Amen. But before we go any further, I would like to take this time to remember those of our flock who could not be here with us tonight. Please join our prayer chain for Miss Lola Biddle, bedridden with the shingles. She is miserable.
that hurts.
Zida and Bob Kirby and their new baby boy, a 12-pounder.
Lord have mercy.
Oh, that really hurts.
Continue to pray for the Mount Pleasant pickle plant and the men laid off. Ask God to help them find work. Now, I myself bookkeep down there 3 days a week, so I understand the worry. It's a shame. Pray for the Mosley family who came through last week without a home place. And bless the good folks who have seen fit to lend this deserving family such a helping hand. Brighter days are coming. Wait and see. And lastly, we send our prayers to the Stiegel family who lost their beloved Earl 5 short days ago. Now, Earl was a vital member of our congregation and a valued employee of Pleasant Pickles. Now, I met with Mr. Duncan down at the plant this afternoon and arranged to have that particular vat taken out of commission. And inscribed with a plaque in memory of Earl.
Oh, Reverend Ogla. Would you mind if I just call me Bourbon? I can get my mouth around
No.
Well, I appreciate it. Our family surely sympathizes. As you know, we recently said goodbye to our own beloved mother.
Oh, it must have broke your heart.
It did, sir. I've been away from home a good time now. And it took something as tragic as the loss of that dear woman to bring me home, back in the arms of my family and the Lord. Well, this is Meet Mother in the Skies.
I love a good mother song.
In a lonesome graveyard, many miles away, lies your dear old mother, 'neath the cold, cold clay. Memories oft returning of her tears and sighs. If you love your mother, meet her in the skies. Listen to her pleading, wandering boy, come home. Lovingly entreating, do not longer roam. Let your manhood waken, heavenward lift your eyes. If you love your mother, meet her in the skies. I miss you, Mama.
Mother songs just tear me all to pieces.
Luke 11:27.
Blessed be the mother who gave you birth.
Isaiah 49:15.
Can a mother forget the child?
A wise son brings joy to his father, but a foolish son grief to his mother.
That's Proverbs 10:1.
No.
Dennis wants to know if you think Jesus would mind if you put a little swing into it.
I think he'd be open-minded about it, don't you?
Yeah, brother.
The devil is a rustler, and many are his men, who ride the plains and valleys, branding souls with death and sin. If you're a Christian cowboy, then saddle up God's word and sing the soul that's headed toward the devil's burns. Begin to saddle Christian cowboy, and start riding home. Such the kingdom of sin for the souls of men, bringing the strings for the Lord.
What outfit do you ride for? Are you the devil's hand? Or is the Lord your foreman and the rugged cross your brand? Is hell your destination or heaven your reward? You're working for the devil or you're working for the Lord. Swing,
Saddle Christian cowboy, riding, start riding home. For the Lord, bring in the strings for the Lord.
and when the roundup's over
And payday rolls around, when all the strays are branded and all the lost are found, we'll check our reins up yonder in valleys green and wide,
but you'll never make it cowboy.
unless we up and ride. Swing in the saddle, Christian cowboy, riding and start riding home. Such a God to sing for the souls of men, bring in the strings for the Lord.
I would not trade these children of mine for anything.
Us Baptists are moving into the modern world.
You know, every time I think of Mount Pleasant, my mouth starts watering. My mind just automatically goes to pickles. This is the only town I know that smells like it ought to belong on a hot dog.
I write the jelly of the week column for the Siler City paper, and I often include a pleasant pickle product in my list of ingredients.
When we're not singing, we run a little filling station grocerette up on Highway 11, and we have always sold a gang of pleasant pickles.
I told them about meeting y'all that way.
And we were pleased to be able to help you and your poor old car out. Preacher here is in dire need of a new radiator.
No, sir, you patched it up good as new. You need a new radiator. Sure does.
Well, we started out about 9 years ago.
Selling sundries.
Yes, there's one thing I learned about retail. If you hang out your sign and pray the Lord will send you customers. But salesmen always come without calling. You're a bookkeeper, Brother Oglethorpe, am I saying it right?
Oh, yes, that's the way.
I state right now, though, that I have saved many a farmer a trip into Siler City because the International Harvester Man talked me into stock and implement parts.
And the Pepsi Cola man.
And the Pepsi Cola Man, I thought he was gonna bug. Must be some Coca-Cola people. Well, I finally agreed, and we put in the cooler.
And then we sold 32 ice cold watermelons one really hot Sunday afternoon.
Well, last fall, this man from Charlotte came by and wanted me to sell little crackers in a cellophane pack.
Nabs, Daddy.
Nabs. Now, I thought it was foolishness, but the young'uns begged for them, and they surely humbled me. There is a good living to be made selling nabs and knee-high.
The gas pump.
Oh, the SO man was so excited, he dug the hole himself, buried the tank, and my boy Dennis out to be a whiz-bang mechanic. And the automobiles just rolled in. We couldn't ask to do no better. Now, Vera here had been worrying me to death to build her a back porch for I don't know how long.
6 years.
And one day I says, Vera, if President Roosevelt can borrow all that money for the WPA, CCC, FWA, all those other initials up in Washington, I reckon I can borrow a parcel for your back porch. And I love building that porch. 10 by 20 feet, 6 posts.
Turn, not square.
Tongue groove floor. I am never so close to the Almighty as when I'm building something. I guess it's because Jesus was a carpenter himself.
Amen.
Well, about halfway through that porch, something happened. The business in my station just dried up. I'm telling you, nobody stopped. I was sitting in front of the store one day, and a DeSoto I know well flew by so fast, couldn't get my hand up in time to wait.
And it takes very little investigation on my part to find out that the store down the road is selling beer.
Selling beer on Highway 11. Over that, it was a real popular establishment.
Wine is a mocker and beer a brawler. Whoever is led astray by them is not wise. Proverbs 21.
Thank you, Mother.
You're welcome.
Now, I have always been of the conviction to sell only what the Lord would eat and drink. But I'm sitting here with a half-built porch, a loan due at the bank, family of 5, 6 to feed, and I have not sold so much as a cellophane cracker in 3 days. And just like the icing on the cake, you know who drives up. Big old Mercury car, one of them pricey felt hats like they wear in town. He was, what's that word you use, Denise? Sway. Now I'm thinking to myself as I'm watching him crawl out, this man reminds me of somebody. Well, he takes hold of my hand and starts shaking it and grinning like I've been shook and grinned at so many times. And this beer man sets right in to making his play. Oh, I'm going to be a rich man to hear him tell it. 2 cents on every bottle is going to be mine to keep.
2 cents?
Mm-hmm. And he's talking profits and revenues, and I'm seeing the bank take over my store, my family wasting to nothing. Well, now, I've never told this before, not even to my family. I felt backed into a corner here. I thought, well, that's it. I'm going to have to do it. I'm going to have to sell beer in my store. No, Lord. And just as I was about to say load it in, the beer man's car starts hissing. Hissing and moaning out the back and rocking on its tires like there was something alive back there. And then pow! Just like a rabbit gun going off. Pow! Pow! And the beer man done hit the ground and crawled up under a bench. I am froze like a popsicle. Boom! The trunk lid blows open and a bottle cap flies by my head so close, it nearly pins my ear to the clapboard. Well, I am defrosted and down in the dirt with the beer man. And it hit me. The devil.
The devil?
This here beer man reminds me of old Satan himself. And I could be Job, only in the modern world. And I thought of Job. Now there he was, robbed of every sign of God's favor, hunkered down in a sack, covered over with festering sores and boils. And the miracle is, he never lost faith. Well, here I am, put to the test one time, and I'm ready put my nose up to his and I said, Bud, I suggest you just crawl back into that stinking Mercury and haul it down the road. Well, he jumped in the front seat, a-sputtering and a-crying, and took off, beer dripping down through the cracks and dribbling on his tires. Shoo-wee! Well, for those of you who don't know it, that beer has staying power. Well, I got the family down there, and we set into scrubbing and shoveling dirt in the puddles of it. And Psalms 62:8 says, Mother,
Trust in him at all times.
trust in him at all times. I won't sell beer in my store, and I don't do near as well as I did. I'll finish the porch, though. Just gonna have to wait a while for the screen war. Well, that bottle cap is still stuck up in the side. Next time you're up on Highway 11, pull in. I'll show it to you. People used to talk about the fire. Back then they had a great desire to see God's hands at work in the midst of them. But it seems that since I've gotten older, folks' hearts have grown a little colder. It's time to kick our hearts back up again. Bring 'em in. Bring 'em in. The filling station. Let's get taste. Our good old-fashioned true salvation. Bring it to the spot where the glory flows out. It'll make you cry. It'll make you shout. Everything's free. It'll never run out at the filling station. I can't give a word that every time of them. Looking for an answer that is certain. It's up to us to share God's love with them. Go out to the head of the highway. Share the love of Jesus with the unsaved. Go out into the nations. No more hesitation. Prepare them to go in. Bring 'em in. Bring 'em in. The filling station is empty. Let's get taste. Our good old-fashioned true salvation. Bring it to the spot where the glory flows out. It'll make you cry. It'll make you shout. Everything's free. It'll never run out at the filling station. Everything's free. It'll never run out at the filling station. The filling station.
And thank you, too, for your witness.
Well, Brother Oglethorpe, Sanders family believes that witnessing is the most important part of our ministry.
That's right, Mervyn. We know lots of gospel groups don't speak a word during their program, but we believe that God has given us two gifts, music and witness.
We like to talk a lot.
Yes. Yes, you surely do. Now, before we go any further, yes, Miss Denise?
It's my turn.
Oh.
Don't shed any tears. we go to Chloe Bible School. We cost too much to go together, so we trade years. This is my year off, which I guess could explain my behavior. This February, I ran off to Charlotte without telling my mama and daddy.
Honey,
Like running away from home, only I'm 16.
Darling.
Well, 15 going on then. Have y'all ever been to a movie house? I have. 6 times. With my mama and daddy's permission. And it has changed my life. Sitting there in the dark, watching the picture stars fall in love, and get in trouble while wearing their evening gowns. Did y'all see Three Comrades? When Margaret Sullivan died that terrible death in that long, shiny gown, I had to go to bed for 2 whole days. I read about it in the Asheville Citizen. This man, this Mr. Selznick, says he's looking for a new girl. Best one that shows up gets to play the part. Willy-nilly. And I just know he's talking about me. They're searching high and low for Scarlett. And here I am, sitting right outside Siler City. This is my year off from Bible school. I have plenty of time to make a picture. Paper says they'll be in Charlotte on February 14th, Valentine's Day. They're looking for an unknown, young and charged with electricity. So I sneaked myself a tablecloth, and I fashioned myself a Hollywood dress, Snow White, with a red felt heart right here for the day. I sneak off, and I buy a bus ticket, and I sit in the chicken house and I practice. Fiddly-dee, fiddly-dee. When Valentine's came, I was up at the crack. My sister, June, had just bought a new pocketbook that matched my Hollywood shoes, and I snatched it up as I stole out of the house. When I got to the bus stop, I saw before me, there, standing right before me, every girl in my community. The bus pulled up, we filed on. There were 10 or 15 girls on from Bushy Mountain already, and in every stop, more girls piled on. We pull into Charlotte, not speaking a word. They march us in, 10 to a row. Mr. Selznick, he's sitting behind a desk with his hands into his face like this. And 2 little men are sitting beside him, whispering things in his ears, like the Last Supper picture.
Denise.
Mr. Selznick, he looks up and he looks down the line and he says, "You, little girl with the heart, you stay." So I go and I stand before him and he asks me my name, how old I am, where I'm from, if I ever been to Charlotte before, and if I was planning on staying overnight. Friendly things like that. He says, I'm delightful. If he didn't know any better, he'd swear I was a Rockette. I didn't even know what a Rockette was back then. He says, I'll be in touch. And when I look up from writing down my address, he winks at me. On the bus ride home, everybody's crying, except me. I'll be in touch. He's gonna write me. I could be the new girl and I would be perfect as Scarlett. I find a pack of violet candy in June's purse, and I eat the whole thing up in celebration.
I'd like to say I didn't know anything about this.
But you see, yesterday marks 4 months. And Mr. Selznick, he still hasn't been in touch. I'm pretty sure I'm not going to be Scarlett. The paper says they gave the part to a Paulette Goddard. She'll be good. I know that this has to do with Jesus and my soul in some way. My mama and daddy told me to say something, and I know I've lapsed. My sins are many and easy to count. I'm powerfully sorry for not honoring my mama and my daddy, and for taking my sister's hard-earned belongings and eating what was in it. But as for the sin to myself, I really haven't figured that part out yet. But I pray that I will. And I know that Jesus hears my prayers.
Thank you, honey.
I'm a nice girl from a nice family that wraps me in a sheet of love every day. I am thankful for the things God has given me, but I don't believe that Christians should have to see Walt Disney movies alone. Although I did see Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, and it was so good, I'll just never get over it.
Thank you, honey. Thank you. My little girl Denise, she seems to have a little bit too much time in her hands these days. Mervyn, you know Jesus is mine?
Oh, why, yes. I'm so happy as I travel on the right road to glory land, and I'm living so my light for Jesus will shine. I'm rejoicing as I'm traveling with an angel band. There's no sorrow in my heart, for Jesus is mine. Shouting and praising, voices are raising, glory divine. Going to glory, telling the story, Jesus is mine. And for heaven, sins are forgiven, none unrepited. There's such gladness, there's no more sadness, glory light shine. Singing and shouting, there's no more doubting, love so divine. Marching with the winners, joining with the sinners, he will be mine. He is surely mine. I have been given treasures in heaven, none unrepited. I shall not repine. And I'm going happy, I'm knowing Jesus is mine.
Dennis, it's your turn now.
My name's Dennis Sanders. I'm the boy. Well, you already know that we go to the Bible school, and this is my year on. And I ain't doing very well.
But with prayer and hard work, Dennis is really going to pull himself up. He's studying to be a minister.
I'm studying to be a preacher.
We are so proud.
Vera, that him?
And it's all right with you, Mervyn. I mean, Reverend Oglethorpe.
Well, I've...
Dennis has prepared a short sermonette for you all this evening.
A sermonette. Well, I have prepared a few words to say myself, so. Why, yes. You Sanders are a surprise a minute. But anything to help out a future member of the Called and Touched. Here? You want to stand here? Surely. Surely, good practice. Get the feel of it. Here, let me show you. I like to stand about this wide. Toes right in there like that. Hands pressed firmly on the side of the lectern. Ready to pick up the Bible. Or raise a hand. Now you try. Toes right in there. Hands on the side of the lectern. Now pick up the Bible. Good. Now raise a hand. Good.
The greatest day of my life was when I was saved. And my favorite holiday, and not because of the new dresses, is Easter. Because Easter symbolizes the death of Jesus for my own personal sins. I know that if Jesus had not spilled his blood for me personally, that even though I try to keep my sins to a minimum, I would wind up
Inhale. Inhale.
I did.
Inhale.
Inhale.
Where the worm dieth not, and the fire is not quenched.
Where the worm... What?
944.
Mark 9:44. I guess the rest of it's on the bus.
10 is.
Well, we turned the bus over trying to get here tonight, and everybody was upside downwards. I reckon my sermonette got lost in the parade. It's probably floating down the river with all those pickles. My mama wrote it. I ain't no good at talking to people, and well, I the Lord has called me to preach, and I believe he'll fill my mouth. Well, when I was little bitty, I used to kneel and pray through with the grown folks, the big sinners. And they'd say to me, "Dennis, you're not a bad boy." But I felt I had the potential of all the evil that y'all grown folks had. I just hadn't done it yet. And right then, I committed my life to preaching. Well, I'd turn up a 5-gallon can and try preaching to my sisters. And when they'd laugh at me, I'd take up my dog and pray for him. I'd say, Rufus, Jesus can save you. He can take up your soul and make it his own. Give him your soul, boy. Give it to him today. Fasten your eyes upon the cross, and your heart will be lighter, and the sky will be brighter. Jesus can help you find the way. Shake hands with Jesus, boy. Give him your foot. Walk side by side with our Savior, and you'll never be alone. Oh, there'll be things in the beginning that the devil will try to throw in your way.
Yes.
Oh, he will throw things in your way.
Yes, he will.
But we can smile at Satan's rage.
Smile.
I said smile at Satan's rage and move on.
Move on.
It won't hinder us. No, sir.
No, sir.
No, sir.
No, sir.
Praise Jesus. We will never suffer the sting of death. Praise Jesus. He's written our names in the book of life.
Really got so proud.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Water and wash away
This here song is one the girls worked on, and I hope you take to it.
shining white. Oh, there he is. Can't find the preacher.
I hope y'all are feeling refreshed. I know I am. Oh, Miss Pruitt asked me to tell all you ladies, if you bring your coffee grounds in the morning and throw them around those azaleas, we can save them. And I would like to assure you that I had a little talk with Miss Denise and Miss June in my study, and they would like me to express their profound apologies for any inconveniences that their actions may have caused you. Now, Matthew 11:17. But whereunto shall I liken this generation? We have piped unto you, and ye have not danced. We have mourned unto you, and ye have not lamented.
Psalms 30:11. Thou hast turned my mourning into dancing. Thou hast put off my sackcloth and girded me with gladness.
A time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance. Ecclesiastes 3:4.
Psalm 149:3. Let them praise his name with dances and make music unto him with tambourine and harp.
This is one of our favorite songs, and Miss Maud and Miss Merle, being so understanding about our girls, we'd like to do this one for you.
Ain't nothing in the world that'll ever take the place of God's love. Silver and gold would never buy his love from above. When my soul needs a healing, then I will give it healing his heart. I can say, thank the Lord, I wouldn't take nothing for my journey.
I'm sorry, girl. You can't get some here. Preaching in a proper place with snow. Just wants to go.
My brother Stanley.
There were 5 of us boys in the family. We told our dear mother goodbye. We left our dear home down in Georgia and our Kingle City to drive. We agreed to go back there and see her when 2 years had passed away. She told us that she would be waiting, and 2 years are over today. They're all going home to mother tonight. They're all going home but one. And mother will be so happy tonight, and proud are we for Johnny's son. But I wonder where boys will be deceived, the one she will fail to see. They'll all be home with mother tonight. They're all going home but me. That night when it's dark in the prison, I stand looking out through the bars. I'll think of my mother in Georgia. I can still
rising the stars. The others were steadfast and loyal. No tears did they cause her to shed. But I was the one who disgraced her, accruing no better off dead. They're all going home to mother tonight. They're all going home but me. 6 months ago, you wouldn't have seen me here. 5 minutes ago, I didn't think I'd see myself here. I went out to the road just now, and if a car had come by, I'd have been in it. I know what beer smells like, and I like it. Some of the most accepting people I know have been sitting in bars, talking, laughing, listening. If somebody casts a stone in a bar, well, they're looking for a fight. Well, for the past 18 months, I've been dangling over the Yadkin River, popping rivets into bridges. It's called hard labor. Doing that kind of work gives a fella a lot of time to think. And I got an idea about sin. I think a lot of times bad things are slung at unsuspecting folks. All those men out there with no jobs. Well, their families are hungry, got no roof over their heads. Well, the crew on the Yadkin was made up of the roughest bunch of men I ever known. I was friendly with a fella named Old Nate. Arms as big as my leg. Me. One day, Leighton and I sitting under a shady tree waiting for our dinner. Well, that sounds nice, don't it? There was a fella with a shotgun just 20 yards down the line. Well, they didn't want us running on. The foreman's wife would bring us our plate. She had to feed the mess of us and look after a little dog, too. Sweetest little girl. Reminded me of June when she was a baby. This little girl, she had no fear. She's a toddling along behind her mama. When she sets her eyes on old Leighton, walks right up to him, crawls up in his lap and puts her little baby arms around his neck. Her cheek right up there next to his. Now you don't want to brush up against Leighton. Or you don't want to get near him. So I turn easy like to pull her off of him. And as I do, I see this big old tear rolling down his ugly face. Leighton turns to me and says, "What you looking at?" He takes that little girl with those big old hands of his. He sends her back to her mom. We eat our dinner. Leighton's chewing on an old cold biscuit. And he turns to me and says, "That's the first hug I've had since I was 12. When the Lord looked out over the 5,000, he was moved to feed them. And that multitude included the likes of Leighton and me. I wanted to come home, and I'm going to try to work things out. My brother here just said, "Come home." I started out traveling for the Lord many years ago. I've had a lot of heartache, met a lot of grief and woe. Oh, and when I was humbled, and I was humbled down, and there I would say I would take nothing more than now.
disciples in Raleigh a few years back, and we'd like to do it for you now. Hope you enjoy it. Soft as the voice of an angel, breathing God has sent on earth. Oh, with her gentle persuasion, whispers of comforting word. Wait till the darkness is over. Wait till the tempest is gone. Hope for the sunshine tomorrow after the shower is gone. Whispering home, oh, how welcome thy voice. Welcome thy voice, oh, how welcome thy voice. Give us sorrow, thy joy. My heart is its whispering home, oh, how welcome thy voice.
In its sorrow, rejoice.
Hallelujah.
And Jesus said, suffer the little children to come unto me, amen. I cannot tell you how truly inspiring it is to see so many bright and youthful faces shining with the promise of Jesus' love here tonight. I love children. But I don't have to tell you mothers out there how hard it is to raise 3 children in today's world. But with a strong hand and the help of God, I believe I've done a wonderful job.
Amen.
So, of course, it fell on me to do the children's devotional tonight. So, children, scoot on up to the edge of your pew. This is for you. The other night, I was sitting out on my back porch, having a nice glass of delicious lemonade and contemplating hard this coming evening of song and worship and the great challenge that the Lord has given to me to share His love and guidance with you. When, whoop, something plopped into my glass of lemonade. Now, can anybody guess what plopped into my glass? It being June and all. A June bug, that's right. And I turned to my husband, Burl, who was sitting out on the porch with me, and I said, Burl, would you look at that? A June bug just jumped into my nice glass of lemonade. And Burl says, well, you can't have mine. And I said, Burl. And he said, flick it out with your straw. There ain't nothing wrong with it. Ew. Well, I just had to sigh, because there was wasted a whole big glass of refreshing lemonade. And I admit it, I was right mad with that June bug. But while I was digging around for his little drowning body, the Lord, in His wondrous way, spoke to me. And He said, think on that June bug. And I did. And God, in his wisdom, let me see that we too, all of us, are June bugs in this world, flying aimlessly, hitting the screen doors of life, and drowning in the refreshments. Well, the Lord was speaking to me so loud and so clear that I made Burl put on his shoes and go out in the yard and trap me a couple of June bugs for our lesson tonight.
It took me better than an hour in pitch blackness.
And we appreciate it too. Now, if I open my hanky like this, the June bug will fly away. Whee! Look at that! Look at him go! Just like a sinner. No direction, no purpose, doomed to an unhappy end. But what if we had taken a little thread and tied it around the old June bug's back leg? Have you ever done that?
Yes.
I bet you have. Well, what would happen then? Fly. Come on, get up from there and fly. Oh, look at that. Just like a Christian. He's flying perfect circles around my head. I don't even see that other old June bug. He's lost. But this June bug with the thread isn't going anywhere. Now this thread is just like Jesus' love and hold on us. But you see how the old June bug's pulling on that thread? Well, we pull on our threads too. That's sin. And if we pull too hard on our thread, what will happen? It'll pull our leg right off. Now, which June bug would you rather be? This nice June bug flying in perfect circles, or a nasty June bug flying around helter-skelter and getting into God knows what? Nobody? Well, I think I know the answer. And I'm here to tell you tonight that Jesus wants to run a thread from his mighty hand to the hind leg of your soul. Let him tie it on tonight. And as long as we don't pull on that thread too hard, it will get stronger and stronger and thicker until we are flying in perfect circles around God's head in this hateful world and in the glorious world that he has prepared for us beyond. Let us pray. Heavenly Father, help us to be good June bugs in this world. Make the lemonade of sin a bitter drink. May all our hind legs stay attached to our bodies so that we may be whole when we reach your heavenly palace, where there are no nasty bugs to scare the life out of us. And even if there were, your glorious band of angels would exterminate them before we even had time to mention it. We ask this in thy name. Amen.
Thank you, Mother.
Thank you, boy. The sun streamed through the heaven with goodness for my soul. Now I'll walk every step of the way. I'm leaving the dark for the build on the rock. Now I understand how people feel when I walk every step of the way. Yes, I'll walk every step of the way. I'm leaving the dark for a build on the rock. Now I understand how people feel when I'll walk every step of the way.
I'm taking a flight up to the sky, where I shall live and never more die. I'll meet with my loved ones and prophets I'll hold, walk with my Savior on streets of pure gold. Streets of pure gold. I'm taking a flight some wonderful day. Christ is my pilot, with him I shall stay. I'll sing with the angels and look on his face. Glory to God, I'm saved by his grace. Angels are gathering around the great throne. A great celebration will welcome me home. I'm taking a flight some wonderful day. My pilot is coming. I can leave any day.
All aboard!
No,
Life is like a mountain railway with an engine near the train. You will stay unsuccessful from the cradle to the grave. Watch the curves, the hills and tunnels, never falter, never fail. Keep your hand on the throttle and your eye upon the rail.
Blessed Savior, thou diest, till we reach that blissful shore, where the angels wait to join us in thy grace forevermore.
You will often find instructions for storms and wind and rain. Watch the curves, the hills and trestles, they will almost ditch your train. You will roll the freight of trials, and you will cross that bridge untried. See the Christ, your conductor, on this line and train of life.
Blessed Savior, thou diest, till we reach that blissful shore, where the angels wait to join us in thy grace forevermore. Blessed Savior, thou wilt guide us till we reach that blissful shore, where the angels wait to join us in thy grace forevermore.
dude,
Oh, I didn't have any.
If you want to say something, honey, go ahead.
Well, well, I was sitting here and to these songs and them all doing their parts. And it reminds me of hydroelectric plants. Well, I took a tour once of the Fontana Dam, the tallest dam in the Tennessee Valley Authority, 1,500 feet high. Why, it took 1 million barrels of concrete to build it. Well, just think what that would look like in pickles. Our guide took us all over the thing, even to the control room. And inside that room, there were rows and rows of switches and buttons. And there was this one big blue button that he said raised the control gate. By pushing that button, he said, the Fontana could make enough light for every house from there to Solar City. Well, I'm from Solar City, and that's a long way away. Then, the guy looked square at me, and he said, push it. Well, I tried to say no thank you, but it wouldn't come out. Go ahead, miss, he said. Push it. It's time. So I set my mouth, and I walked over to that button like one big blue eye staring out at me. I put out my finger, and I pushed. And you could hear it. The gate started groaning up, and the water started whooshing in like a flood. Well, you can't see it. You hear it. And then the turbine starts rolling over, and the roar is nothing but power. Power of the water, and the moving, and the turning. And in my mind, I can see little houses lighting up all the way home. Well, tonight, when that couple stopped to help us rock the bus back up, we were so shook up we about talked them to death. Even as Miss Joanne was driving me over here, I was jabbering away like a magpie until I caught myself. But when I got to listen, she got to talking, and it was just like that dame. She said she knew she shouldn't complain, but her job's about driving her crazy. She rubs the stickers off the cucumbers down at the plant. And she sings hymns to herself to help pass the time. And she was so happy to help me and my family. Well, she said she'd say a little prayer for us on our first night back. My first little prayer in a goodly while. Why, just by listening, I think Miss Joanne did some thinking. And I'll bet some praying, too. So what if I can't sing? And y'all aren't deaf? My job is listening. God's power is loud like thunder. But it's soft, too. Like Miss Joanne. I'm done.
May the glory of the Lord endure forever.
May the Lord rejoice in his works.
He who looks at the earth and it trembles, who touches the mountains and they smoke.
Don't